Hello students, welcome to Rohan Commerce Circle. So today we will be doing a question of trial balance. Okay, so let me show you the question of trial balance. So these have the following expense. These are the following questions. Basically, the following are the balances extracted from the books of Mr. A. Prepare trial balance as on 31st March 2022. Okay. So students, we have to prepare the trial balance for March 2022. Okay. So these are the questions. So first one is cash, next is capital, then is purchases, then sales, purchase return, sales return, transportation, discount allowed, printing, sundry debtors, input CGST, input SGST, input IGST, sundry creditors, investment, plant and machinery, building, furniture, electricity, postage, drawings, salaries, traveling expenses, output CGST, output SGST and output IGST. Now, first of all, I will be telling you all the debit and credit balances. Which one will be debit and which one will be credit. Okay. Then we will be posting it into the trial balance. Okay. So now cash. Cash is an asset. So cash has debit balance. Okay. Cash has debit balance. Okay, students. Next is capital. Capital is basically a liability. So it has credit balance. Next is purchases. Students, what is a purchase? A purchase is an expense, so it has debit balance. Next is sales. Sales is a revenue. Revenue has credit balance. If you have not seen the rule, please do see the first video by clicking on the I button, students. Then you can see the rule. Okay. Next is purchase return. Okay, purchase return has credit balance. Okay, purchase return has credit balance. Why this has credit balance, students? Because when we are purchasing any good and we are returning it, right? We are returning it. So that is basically we are decreasing the expenses. So that's why it's credit. When the expenses decreases, we do credit it. Next is sales return. Sales return will be debited. Okay, sales return will be debited. Now it's just the opposite of purchase return. So that's why it is debited. Next is transportation. Obviously transportation is an expense. So we will debit it. Next is discount allowed. That means we have allowed a discount. That is our expense. So we will debit it. Expense has debit balance. Next is printing, that is also expense, so this will have debit balance. Next is sundry debtors asset, we have debit balance. Next things are input GST. Now students, input CGST, input anything, input CGST, input SGST or input IGST means we are paying the GST. That means we are paying the goods and service tax, right? CGST means Central Goods and Service Tax. Next is input SGST. Input SGST means inputs state goods and service tax. Okay, next is input IGST, that means integrated goods and service tax account. These we all have to pay the tax. That means these are our expenses, so we will be debiting this. Okay, debit and debit. Similarly, the output will be the output CGST, SGST and IGST will be, we will just credit it. Okay students, we will just credit it. We will be crediting this output. Output means we are taking the tax. That's why we are just crediting it. That means we are not taking the tax, we are just offsetting it. That means as we are paying the tax, we will take it from our customers to whom we are selling the goods. So that's why it's actually the revenue. We are taking it. So that's why we are crediting it, because revenue or income has credit balance. Okay, next coming to sundry creditors. Okay, so what is sundry creditors? How will we do sundry creditors? Basically, sundry creditors will have credit balance. Sundry creditors will have credit balance because those are liability. Investment is a asset, so we have debit balance. Plant and machinery debit balance. Building debit balance. Okay, furniture debit balance. Electricity, that is an expense, so we have debit balance. Postage expense, we have debit balance. Okay, drawings, we have debit balance, as we know that drawings and dividends have debit balances. Salaries, we are paying the salaries, that is an expense, so we have debit balance. And traveling expenses also we have debit balance. Okay students, so I hope this part is clear to you, which we have debit and credit balances. Now we will just put it into trial. So now we will be posting this to our trial balance. So what we will write? We will write trial balance as on 31st March 2022. Okay. So this is the format of trial balance as you have seen in the first class of trial balance. Now we will be just posting it out. Now the first one was cash, right? So cash had debit balance, you could see it, so we will write cash as 2000. Next is capital. Capital we have credit balance, so capital we will write credit balance as 80,000. Okay. Next is purchases. So purchases we have debit balance. Third one is purchases. So purchases we have debit balance of 85,000. So we will write 85,000 on debit. Okay. Next fourth one is sales. So sales you have credit balance, right? Sales is a revenue, so revenue increases, we have credit balance. So we will write 1,08,400 as credit balance. I hope you are understanding this, right students? If you are not understanding, please do pause the video and see it again so that you can understand it. This is a very important concept of trial balance, right? Next is sales return, and if you still could not understand, please do comment me down, okay, so that you can understand. Purchase return, right? So already I have said you purchase return have credit balance, so we have 6,000 as a credit balance. Next is number 6, that is we have sales return. Sales return. So sales return we have debit balance as 4,000. Next is transportation. So transportation you have debit balance, it is an expense, so 1,800 is debit balance. Next is discount allowed, we have basically debit balance students. Why discount allowed have debit balance? Because discount allowed is basically an expense. We have just given the discount, so that's why it's an expense. So like this I will be completing the table so that you can just understand this part and showing it to you. Okay, now I have written it for you, so let me explain it to you. So देखो firstly printing है, printing 5,000 rupees है, printing debit है, expense है, so debit. Then is sundry debtors, so sundry debtors we have 70,000 balance. Debtors है, sundry debtors asset है, तो इसलिए 70,000 debit balance है. Input CGST, SGST, IGST, these we are paying it, so it's an expense. तो expense है, इसलिए हम लोग उसको debit में डाल रहे हैं. Next is sundry creditors. Creditors we have credit balance, right? It's a liability, so we have credit balance. That's why we are writing it on the credit side. Next is sundry. Next is investment, plant and machinery, building, furniture. These all are assets up to furniture. So these all are assets. So assets have debit balance. Don't write asset in your exam. That's just for explaining purpose. I'm saying it to you. सो एसेट का क्या होता है, देखो एसेट का डेबिट बैलेंस होता है, इसलिए इन्वेस्टमेंट, प्लांट एंड मशीनरी, बिल्डिंग और फर्नीचर का डेबिट बैलेंसेस है, जो कि हो गया तुम्हारा 8,000, 15,000, 20,000 and 6,000. Okay. Next is electricity. Electricity is an expense, so you have 700 as an debit balance. Postage is also expense, so you have 400 as a debit balance. Next is drawings. Drawings and dividends. You have 8,000 as a debit balance. Next is salaries, expenses. You have debit balance 6,000. Traveling expenses, already you know that it's an expense, so it has debit balance. Next is output, CGST, SGST and IGST. These all are basically revenue or income, students. So as these are revenue or income, so we will have credit balances over here. So 1,500, 1,500 and 6,000 we have credit balances over here. Okay. So I hope this part you have understood. Next what we will do is we will just total it out. Okay. So when we will be totaling it out, it will be 2,43,400. Just total it out at your house and see that it will be 2,43,400 on both debit and credit side. 2,43,400 on both debit and credit side. Students, this must be equal. This is a very important thing. Debit and credit. 2,43,400 should be debit and 2,43,400 should be credit. So that must be equal. Okay. Then you will understand that the trial balance is perfect. That means you have corrected the journal, you have posted it into a ledger in the correct format, and then you have posted it into trial balance. When these two balances will be equal, that is 2,43,400 and 2,43,400, it will be in this case. Okay. Now I hope you have understood this trial balance videos. If you have not seen the part 1, you do click on the I button to see the part 1, and thank you for seeing this video. Now if you have understood it, please do like, share and subscribe my channel, and do comment below if you have any doubts. ठीक है बच्चों, thank you so much.